If you're working with young children and you're among the many teachers seeing more behavior challenges than ever, more dysregulation, more power struggles, more kids melting down over what feels like nothing, I want to offer you a perspective that might feel almost too simple and a little counterintuitive. Add more movement. Really, I mean it. We keep trying to solve behavior challenges with charts, consequences, token systems, and better routines. But the truth is, none of those things can override biology. Children's bodies are wired for motion, their brains depend on it. And when we restrict movement or treat it like a reward instead of a basic need, behavior challenges don't just show up, they multiply. Today, I want to walk you through why movement is the missing piece in so many classrooms and homes, what the research tells us, and how adding more movement can transform the entire emotional climate of your day. Let's start with the brain. Young children learn through sensory input, whole body exploration, and physical engagement with their environment. Movement increases oxygen flow, strengthens neural pathways, and supports the development of executive function, the very skills children need to regulate emotions, manage impulses, and stay flexible. When we ask children to sit still for long stretches, we're not building self control. We're draining the very systems that make self control possible. So when a child is fidgety, restless, or acting out, it's not defiance, it's communication. Their body is saying, I need to move so I can function. Somewhere along the way, we decided that good behavior means stillness and silence. We've created environments where children spend more time being corrected for being children than being supported in how they actually grow. And then we wonder why they're dysregulated. Stillness culture isn't just developmentally inappropriate, it's counterproductive. When we suppress movement, we create the very behaviors we're trying to eliminate. Here's something that too often surprises people. Movement isn't a break from learning. Movement is a pathway into learning. When children move, they reset their nervous systems. They release tension. They integrate sensory input. They regain access to the parts of the brain responsible for problem solving, empathy, and cooperation. Think about the last time you were stuck in a seat for hours. You probably weren't your best self either. Now imagine being four and stuck in a seat. Movement is regulation. Regulation is behavior. So if we want fewer behavior challenges, we start with the body. What does more movement actually look like? Well, it doesn't require a gym, fancy equipment, or a total overhaul of your day. It's about weaving movement into the natural rhythm of your routines. For example, start the day with big body play, running, climbing, rolling, jumping, the heavy work that organizes the brain. Use movement transitions, hop to the sink, march to the carpet, wiggle before sitting. Offer standing or floor options during learning. Not every child regulates best in a chair or, heaven forbid, crisscross applesauce. Bring back real recess, not the walk around the blacktop version that some schools are employing. Actual play, actual freedom. Use music and rhythm. Clapping games, dancing, drumming. These build coordination and connection and are closely linked to emergent literacy. Say yes to safe risk. Cartwheels, spinning, climbing, balancing, these are not extra. They're not even necessarily risky. They're essential sensory experiences. Adding movement doesn't mean chaos. It means designing environments that honor how children function. Structure and movement are not opposites. In fact, movement supports structure by helping children stay regulated enough to follow it. A child who has moved is a child who can listen. A child who has moved is a child who can cope. A child who has moved is a child who can be fully engaged. We're living in a time where children are more sedentary than ever, more screens, less outdoor play, fewer opportunities for whole body exploration. And the behavior challenges we're seeing are not a coincidence. If we want to support children's mental health, social skills, and emotional resilience, we have to stop treating movement as optional. It's not a luxury, it's not a reward, it's a developmental necessity. When we give children the movement their bodies crave, everything else gets easier. Connection gets easier, cooperation gets easier, learning gets easier, and yes, behavior gets easier. So the next time you're facing a tough movement with a child, pause before reaching for a consequence or a lecture. Ask yourself, has this child had enough movement today? Because 9 times out of 10, the answer explains the behavior. When movement is woven into the day, you'll see fewer power struggles, fewer meltdowns, and more cooperation because children finally have what their bodies need. If you want fewer behavior challenges, add more movement. Really. It works because it aligns with how children are built. If this message resonates with you, share it with another educator or parent who needs the reminder. And if you want more content on child development, play, and joyful learning, make sure you're subscribed. Let's build environments where children can thrive, bodies, brains, and all.